I'm not. I can't afford and not record.
Welcome to the BYOK Live, where we discuss the trending stories, strangest dilemmas, and real life topics. Okay now, lovelies, let's get into some things. Hello, hello, hello. It is March 29th. I had to look at it. March 29th on a Wednesday, 2023. Can you believe it is one more day in March? Can you believe it? I cannot, but I am happy to. I guess we're approaching the last of the first quarter. So we're approaching the end of the first quarter. How did you do? How was your first quarter? As I look back, I feel like it's been really busy. Like the first quarter felt like an entire year, but it's like exciting stuff, you know? So I'm super excited about that. Like, how has your week been? It's hump day. Welcome to BYOK 2 Cents Live. I'm feeling good, feeling great. I have my cup of starry. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, which is at BeyondKind24. Shameless plug. You would know that I love this starry pop. Like, it's supposed to be like a close in close competition with Sprite, and it's a little bit stronger, and it gets you a little, I don't know, it got a little to it. Anyway, I'm in love with it. I am in love with the starry soda. Anyway, welcome to BYOK 2 Cents. We believe that you are the most fantastic person that you'll ever know. If you are on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you are on Facebook, hit that follow. You can follow me everywhere at BeyondKind24. You can also listen in on the show at www.FluentRadio.com. So hello to everyone that is tuning in right now. Yes, I'm excited. So so now it is time to get into some things. So let's get into some things. Banner. I was looking for that banner. Wait, it went away. There we go. Yes. All right. So I don't know. A lot has been going on. So I had to kind of like narrow it down so it wouldn't be like a 3-hour show and I can actually talk about the topic. But as with anything, I like to start with something positive. So here we go with sunshine.
Daydream. I fell asleep beneath the flowers.
Okay. I just thought that this was encouraging, and it kind of reminds me of, like, you ever have that friend that like rallies you on for everything? Like my mom is like this. And so I just love this energy. And so I just wanted to share this. I love Chloe's smile.
Chloe! That's mine! Get it mine!
I love it. Everybody needs a friend like this. Everybody needs a friend like this. They like look at that smile. Everyone needs somebody rallying for them like that. I just love that. This is courtesy of Essence. It says, if you don't hype us up like this, it doesn't count. The sisterhood of Black women and the tangible ways in which Black women show up and show out for each other is unmatched. Energy never lies. And like they said, everybody needs a friend like that. Everybody needs a friend that's going to be yelling from all the way in the back to the front. So I just love that energy. Just love it. If you have a friend that's like that, let me know in the comments. I definitely do. And I love every bit of it. Here's a positive affirmation from Janet Jackson. She says, the quote says, one thing I realize is that everything always ends up working out. Sometimes even better than you can imagine. Remember this when you feel like you're in a hard place or you feel like you're being challenged the most. Believe in where you're headed. See the bigger picture. We can only see so far and we don't need to be looking back, but we have to trust the process. So I love this just for that. So whatever path you're going on, and it may look a little, blurry, a little flurries might be running down, a little rain might be trickling. It's okay because you're headed to something great. And everything that happens to us is for the building of our strength, the building of our confidence, the building of us. So I thought that was a really a neat quote. Okay, I don't know if this is positive or not, but it made me happy. So the Bulls, Chicago Bulls logo is the only logo that has never changed since the franchise establishment in the NBA. I don't know why, but that really made my day. I'm just like, man, first of all, okay, here's a little disclaimer. I don't even watch football. I mean, not football, basketball. But when I did watch it as a kid, like when it was like the Jordan era, I was all into basketball just for that. And so it's just kind of cool and nostalgic and kind of dope that our logo has also has stood the test of time. I don't really know how the Bulls are now, but I love what I remember of them. So kudos to Chicago. The last positive thing on here is courtesy of the Shade Room. So, Black Excellence, they did that. Two Black teen girls made historical math discovery that stumped mathematicians for 2,000 years. So, Calcia Johnson and Nakia Jackson, both students at St. Mary's Academy, revealed they proved, let me put these glasses on, proved the Pythagorean theorem during a groundbreaking presentation at the American Mathematical Society's annual Southeastern Conference. Ooh, child. The two were the only high school students there, which made for a really unparalleled feeling. Calcia says, adding, you don't see kids, but even more important, you don't see too many girls being honored for something involving mathematics. So that's just like double honor on top of itself. So kudos to you girls. Keep making history. Keep rocking it out in mathematics. Because we do, us females, do need to tap more into the mathematics era. There are like STEM programs are not STEMmed, no pun intended, are not STEM towards females. And so we need more women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So this was amazing to see this because that was the whole theme of National Women's Day, is that they want little girls to be exposed more into those fields. So that is, wow, our sunshine went by pretty quick. Let's go to a commercial.
Y'all, it's your girl, Miss Michi, checking in with my girl, Renita from Be Your Own Kind. You know that's my sis. Make sure that you tune in every Thursday to the Blueprint Live at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. And then you can catch me on Fluent Radio, Philly Jams 95.3, Indie 101.5, and Mixed Talk Media. And I'm available anywhere that you listen to podcasts, okay, and your radio shows. So get on it, okay? Let's do this. I love to connect with you and promote what you got going on. Let's get it. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the Blueprint Live, visit thebpmediaco.com today.
Okay. Also, my partner, Miss Michi, she has her business, Lavish Looks by Miss Michi. She has a 60, yes, I've said it correctly, 60% off sale, you guys, off of shades and accessories. Just use the promo code LAVISH60. For the people on listening in on Fluent Radio, that is LAVISH 60. Get into it while supplies last. All right. So let's get into our next segment, which is Keyword Read. Okay, I thought this was hilarious, and I might catch a case if somebody did a post like this for me. And so I'm like, is he serious right now? So, courtesy of the Savoy Show, he says, you may not be the hottest person I've ever been with, or the smartest, or the funniest. You might suck in bed. You might not be the best partner, but I love you because you love me. Too many more years together. Boy, do you even know if she like you, or if you the best she ever had, or the cutest she ever had? You will not post me on Instagram carrying your child saying you're not the best. I'm the best because I'm carrying your seed. I will slap you. I was like, who does this for the world to see? So I hope she got him to take this down. Unfortunately, when you put things up on social media, people like me screenshot things. So stop doing that. Don't do that. That was not a compliment. I don't like fake compliments. Like that was an insult in a friendly way. Like I'm like, get out of here. So here's something a little bit more serious. A half-black student in Japan was excluded from participating in high school graduation after showing up with cornrows. This is a big problem in the United States as well. A black Japanese teenager in Japan, I just said that. The unidentified 18-year-old boy wore cornrows to his high school graduation and was pulled by school administrators who said the style went against the school policy. The boy said he wanted neat hair for his graduation and asked his dad, who is black, about the hairstyle. Teachers took the teenager away from his classmates and placed him on the second floor alone, not on punishment on your graduation. I'm about to leave. What? He was also told by staff to not respond to his name when it was called. Can you imagine that? Graduation only happens once for a grade. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously? The student's father spoke out against the school's action in an interview with local journalist Shimbun. Braiding is a way for black people to arrange their hair, the same way that Japanese people part their hair. It's discriminatory to assume that a hairstyle with roots is a violation without any reason. So Asayo, Nato, an associate professor of sociology from Meihei University, told Vice World News that the school's restriction is not uncommon in Japan, as they have implemented strict rules known as Buraku Soko, which require students with hair that isn't black or straight to provide proof. Are you serious? Some schools even ask that you submit childhood photos, reports reveal. Are you serious? All of this for hair? Really? I just feel like people hone in on the most ridiculous things. You know what I'm saying? Like, just focus on, it's so many world problems going on, and we're focusing on braids. Like, it irritated me. So much that I forgot that the United States is also fighting this kind of thing. And no, this is not a key. It's a key that the fact that this, yes, it is a key. It's a key to the fact that this is something that we're fighting for. And so there is an act that's been going around, I think, since like 2019 or maybe earlier. And it's called the Crown Act. Crown stands for Creating Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. So states with hair discrimination laws have continued to grow across the U.S. A few years ago, a coalition began pushing lawmakers to create legislation that prohibits employers from discrimination based on hairstyles, typically those associated with African Americans. So it as it almost always the case, California was the first state to pass a crown law. Yay, California. They're so liberal, man. Amending its Fair Employment and Housing Act to include language about hair discrimination. While these laws vary by jurisdiction, they commonly bar discrimination on certain hair types, which are braids, twists, locks, textured hair, and afros. 18 states, along with Washington, D.C., have now passed crown laws, and Minnesota is now considering one, as well as the federal government. In Massachusetts, the law was initially introduced after an incident at school, but it also covers workplace discrimination. How many times for an interview you have to straighten your hair or make sure you look presentable just so you can get a job? You know, the law bars employers from taking adverse actions against employees or job applicants based on their natural or protective hair, including locks, cornrows, twists, braids, and bantu knots. I love a bantu knot. I just said earlier that CROWN stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. The campaign was founded by Dove, the National Urban League, Color of Change, and the Western Center of Law and Poverty. Along with Massachusetts, the other states that have passed the CROWN laws are California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Tennessee, Virginia, and Washington. Now, it's like, 51 of us as far as states. I need this to keep spreading wide. I mean, I just feel like, where does the discrimination stop? Like, when we're focusing more of how people are expressing themselves through their hair. I mean, come on. You know, like when I entered into the labor force, which I was really young, I was always told straighten your hair. Like, it was unheard of to even wear a fro after you got the job. You know what I'm saying? And so I just think that is ridiculous. Hair is a way to express yourself, and sometimes it's just good to go and have a fro and be free. That's the whole point, to just be free, to just be yourself. Like some of these things that I feel like are an issue shouldn't be an issue, but it is. So here we are. To end this, I did see this quick thing on Instagram before we move forward of Tasha Parker. She is a journalist, and I just love what she said to the judge about this. And so I just wanted to share this a little bit. So let me go.
Tashara Parker. Tashara, I show that you have registered 4HB 567 and you're representing yourself.
I am. Good evening. Howdy, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman Hunter, for the opportunity to be here with all of you and members of the committee as well. And many thanks again to Representative Bowers for championing the Crown Act here in Texas. Again, my name is Tashara Park. I'm a broadcast journalist in Dallas. While I am a journalist, again, I am here speaking solely in an individual capacity with the full support of my employer that encourages me to wear my hair any way I choose to do so. I want you to imagine, just for a second for me, waking up for 5 years, wearing a facade, walking into work, carrying the weight of an identity that was not your own. That was me, with the preconceived notion that my naturally curly afro wasn't good enough to show up on your TV screens. That officially changed in 2018. Fast forward to 2020, a video of mine has been viewed more than 1 million times online. In that video, I asked the world, why does my crown, my hair offend you? I recorded that video after receiving comments about a hairstyle I was wearing on TV, a natural hairstyle that upset some viewers who decided to call the hairstyle unprofessional. One viewer even writing in, this hairstyle just isn't professional for broadcasting. And that led me to ask another question, who determines what's professional in the workplace or in schools? Are we relying on old, outdated policies that likely weren't developed by a lot of people who look like me? Imagine this, looking at a woman or man with straight, natural blonde hair and telling that person your hair isn't professional. That likely wouldn't happen because we're conditioned to accept a certain standard of professionalism. And for a long time, dating back to slavery, when my ancestors were brought here, natural hair and hairstyles did not mean.
Okay, and so the whole thing is you can hear the whole full testimony.
The established standard of what that professionalism is. I became a journalist to be a voice for the community. Growing up in Houston, I did not see a lot of people who looked like me consistently wearing their hair natural on TV. So being a voice has always been the goal. After I shared that viral video I mentioned earlier of me responding to viewers who complained about natural hair, men, women, and children around the world opened up about their own personal experiences with hair trauma. With the support of my station, my TV series, Rooted, shares stories of people who have experienced hair discrimination. One episode even featured a judge, Judge Amber Gibbons, a Black woman who was told that the reason she might lose an election was simply because her hair might offend voters. She was.
So the full testimony can be found on Tashara Parker on Instagram, and I love this. I think what irritated me most about this video is the look on the judge's face, like blah 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 blah. I feel like, well, she's in Texas, so I feel like it would be more effective if it was, a little bit of diversity up there. But I understand, it is what it is. So I hope that Texas does come along and they do join the Crown Act ban, because once again, what is the problem with people freely expressing themselves? So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? It aggravates me because it's just such a simple thing, just like with race, just a simple thing of the color of your skin. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's all nonsensical to me. And so the last thing with Kiwi Reed, a beauty influencer, she is a lawyer. She was forced to resign from her job after they discovered that she was making big bucks on TikTok, which hopefully TikTok lasts. I know they're on court trying to fight for their rights or whatever. I tried to get on TikTok on my computer today, and it was just like, no, it's not safe, privacy law. So I'm like, oh Lord, don't take TikTok away. I finally made it over 1,000 followers. Anyway, let's get into her story and quit talking about me.
17th, I submitted a letter of my immediate resignation from the law firm that I was employed at. On March 14th, just one day after I celebrated my 28th birthday, timing which I honestly don't think is a coincidence for me, I was called in to meet with a partner. I learned that someone at another firm, which I will not name, saw my TikTok and wondered how I was able to maintain a platform like this while working at the firm that I was working at. They then alerted a partner at the firm that I was working at, who then alerted the person that I was meeting with. I have never hid my interest in beauty and blogging and all of that from anyone professionally. It is a line on my resume. It comes up in interviews. I've connected it back to being able to read contracts and work with brands. It is not something that was hidden, but it was also acknowledged that they did not understand that I was earning money on social media at all through paid partnerships. I was informed that this was a clear violation of the firm's policy on outside of work activities or moonlighting, which strictly prohibits attorneys from taking on any sort of work, either legal or non-legal. I was told that I simply cannot do both. I no longer felt comfortable continuing on there. And truthfully, I was not passionate about my work there either. I submitted my letter of resignation at the end of that week. On March 17th, I submitted a letter of my immediate resignation.
Okay, so her name is Even Given Sunday on TikTok. I don't know if my computer allowed me to get on TikTok, but I'm pretty sure it's not inappropriate. I don't know. Oh yeah, see, TikTok is not working. I don't know if people are getting weird things happening with their TikTok, but that has been happening. But she's a beauty influencer. And the fact, I guess that's their policy. When did they update that policy? Why are you prohibited from doing something fun and having a hobby and a second job? Like, being a lawyer seems intense. And it's like, what? Why? Yeah. She probably was making equal or more on TikTok. So I think that was just utterly, utterly ridiculous. Okay, let's get into another commercial with FluentRadio. They have a car show coming up, and I just want you to learn all about it. Here we go.
The members only car club. Where my members only car club members at? Got some love right now. That's what it's all about, guys.
Hey guys, this is Lady Fluent here, and I wanted to remind you all to save the date for Saturday, August the 12th, 2023, where we will be hosting and broadcasting live from our third annual car show featuring the Members Only Car Club that will be held in Crestwood, Illinois. The event will take place in the parking lot of At the Office Bar and Grill on Calsac Road, just west of Cicero Avenue. Registration will begin at 9 to 12 p.m. and will be $20 for motorcycles and $25 per car. This event is free for spectators and will have 10 categories, including 2 Best of Show awards, Best Club Participation, and the Kids' Choice Award. And yes, we will also be hosting our fundraiser again. This year, we are going to be partnering with Dr. Keisha Roberts-Tabb for our fundraising efforts, in which proceeds of the event will be donated to the RTA Group for the 2024 Girls Night Out Rally in support of human trafficking awareness. The RTA Group is dedicated to bringing awareness to human trafficking through training, evaluation, coaching, and counseling to ensure that vulnerable populations are afforded the best care and treatment possible without violating their dignity and safety. Fluent Radio is proud to become sponsors of the 2024 Girls Night Out Rally, which will take place on January 12, 2024. For more information on the RTA Group, human and sex trafficking, or Dr. Keisha Roberts-Tabb, please visit www.drkeisharobertstabb.com. So drop on by Saturday, August the 12th. Enjoy yourself and tell a friend. Contact us via email for any additional questions at pr.fluentradio889@gmail.com or online at www.fluentradio.com. Hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
I done took myself out the stream. Okay. Save the date, August 12th. A lot of good things happening. I'm excited, and I am actually planning to attend. It's their 3rd annual car show. And it's for a good cause. So save the date, and you might not have to remember it too much because we'll be playing it up until August 12th. So yeah, get into it. Now it's time for our next segment. What's the 411?
I gotta go.
Okay. If you tuned in last week, you would know that I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with the Xscape and SWV show. This week was a little mild. I mean, Latasha just had like the worst attitude when they were just trying to talk about like simple things. Like, I'm like, has she been like this forever? And so I saw another, this is off subject, but I saw another interview with Candy on another podcast, and I did not know that they grew up. The thing is, like, Tasha, Tamika, and Tiny are about the same age, and Candy, Tamika, and Tiny are the same age, and Latasha is older than them. And it always seemed like she was like the mother of the group. She was the oldest one. And Candy even said like she was always wondering why she had to sing with these little kids. So it's always been like a struggle of power with them back in like high school. Isn't that something? Actually, no, Candy is the youngest. She's the youngest. Anyway, Tasha's the oldest. So anyway, speaking of Tasha, we're going to get into her sister, Tamika. So Tasha had energy, and she did an I don't know, about 20 minutes or so, just defending herself and her making her points. And of course, Candy spoke on it. But what happened today is Tamika was like, enough is enough. Apparently she's being extorted. You know, they want to like release a sex tape she had. They want to spread lies about the rest of the members of the group, and she didn't have time for it. So she posted at 18 minutes. It's an 18-minute live or video that's floating around YouTube. I'm not going to play the whole 18 minutes, but thanks to Instagram and their editing skills, I didn't even have to edit this. And so thanks to the Neighborhood Talk, we're going to get into this because she even brought Tiny's mother into the mix. So let's get into it. And it's a little offensive language. I apologize. Let's start this over because I want to hear the whole thing.
My apology. Let me tell you something. She's not going to give an apology. How are you going to send me a threat text? Let me explain with the text. I will put it up here so you guys can see it. And, you know, I might even share the video where she's saying things that's in the text. So I got a threat text about me, Tiny, and Candy, all right? First of all, her husband says that I sent him naked pictures. And he said something about Tiny, and he said something about Candy.
Well, here's the thing. If the husband if she sent naked pictures to the husband, why would Latasha not be mad about it then? And why is that really a big key now? Because I feel like they should have handled that if the alleged happened. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to say, which are all lies.
You see what the big news is, right?
About you still in the $30,000?
No, about now the news is Tamika, my sister-in-law, was sending me naked pictures. Todd sucking.
I want to trade because that was kind of
the tranny's dick.
Oh, sorry.
And Tiny in trouble.
Stop it.
That's about to be the biggest news today. So, you know, people, you know, that girl you got coming over there with security for what? Like, damn, Tasha.
Let me ask you this real quick.
He's a devil. He's evil.
He sounded like a gaslighter. I heard that whole thing that he did with Tasha K, and he definitely sounded like a gaslighter.
Miss Diane already explained to everybody that she signed all of us up for sound exchange.
Well, I signed Xscape, every one of them, for sound exchange. And I sent all the paperwork. And Tamika, I did Latasha, everybody. And Tamika told me when we filled out the paperwork, she was living in New York then. Mm-hmm. And I still have the paperwork. And I filled it out and I put it, her address was all in New York and everything. Tamika, my Tamika had gotten her checks, and it was a pretty big check then. I'm thinking it was like close to $20,000 the first time. They got a lot of checks though. And Tamika said, I didn't get my checks. And I said, well, you should have. I said, because Tamika's gotten several checks already. And so we called up to Sound Exchange. Me and Tamika was on the line, and we talked to, this guy's name was Joe Mo Grady. I think he's passed away, but back then he was the person we talked to. And he talked to Tamika, and she asked him questions about her checks. And he told her that her checks were going to Hampton, Georgia. And so after that, she said, well, I live in New York. How did this happen? And he sent her copies of the checks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
so
he sent copies.
He said something about your sister and Rocky, or Edward Bivens, because I really didn't know Rocky's name.
Right, he
was
said Edward Bivens cash your checks. But how was I supposed to get my money back?
The only way you could get your money back is you had to prosecute them. And you said, I don't want to do that.
Once we did do the investigation.
So the thing is, when they did all of this investigating and finding this out, she didn't press charges. And so I don't think this is in this clip, but in the video, she said that the only reason why she's saying something now is because they're trying to extort her and trying to make her out to be a liar. And they're using the basis of when she lied on Candy about being with Jermaine's father and such. So this is the only reason why she felt like she should do this. And I'll play a little bit more and then we'll move on.
Well, they did. They sent information. Someone sent in, which was my sister, and I will be showing that in a second. She changed the contract and put her name on the contract saying that she was my manager. And you're going to see that in a second. And then they put my, they sent my passport. It was a lot of stuff.
He said, you know, that they had proof. They thought it was you and everything. But there's only reason that you couldn't get your money back is you would have to prosecute them.
So I'm not going to do too much.
Well, you've done enough.
But I will clear my name. I will show you a few pieces of evidence that shows how they went in and they changed my address to their address. How they changed my email. Everything that Miss Diane did was changed by my sister, Latasha Scott. I will give you evidence.
And you can't really see it here, but when I watched the video, it's her sister's address here and email. They changed it. It's not her signature. And right here in the middle, it's just the whole address. And so, I mean, I'm just kind of like,
hell no.
So let's keep going.
Now, the misconception is the $30,000. It wasn't one check. It was multiple checks. It wasn't just one. So I was very nice. I was being very nice to say that only $30,000 was stolen from me. Oh yeah, one of the threats were that my tape, I have a sex tape that I did. Yes, when I was in my 20s, I did a sex tape. So, you know, I didn't want to take it back to my house, so I gave the tape to my sister.
Why would one do that? Why would one do that? Right, like exactly. Hey, cousin.
Told her to hold it. So, you know, I can watch it every now and then. You know, I just got to be honest with you. I was looking good on the tape. But
so did she not want it in the house? Because, okay, that's not the point. Let's keep going.
Anyway, I gave it to my sister. So I went back to get it. She said someone stole it out of her safe. So I said, okay, well, who got the safe code? Who got the code to your safe? She said only her and her husband. But somebody stole my tape. Now I'm about to be blackmailed by them. If I don't apologize, they're going to put the tape out. This is what the text says. So, you know what? You're not going to scare me. You got my tape, but you said you didn't have my tape. Now, all of a sudden, you want to extort me and put the tape out? And you're doing a gospel album.
Guess I'll just wait on my apology.
You ain't getting an apology. So what's sad about this is that this is something that should be done behind closed doors. But these things about these reality shows, it just airs out a lot. And then it just, this storyline, they're like on their 4th episode, going on their 5th. It's like 6 episodes of the show. And we are still talking about the 1st episode. So, and it's getting deeper and it's getting deeper. Now, mind you, they aired this like a while ago. And no one was saying anything, but now when it's out in the open, this hole is getting deeper and deeper. This wound is getting worse. So And I've never even seen them do videos on YouTube, and now you just seeing this. It's just viral at this point. The positive from this is it seems like Tamika always lay low and she didn't stand up for herself. So I am proud that she is standing up for herself. However, anytime you see the fabric of a family just being ripped apart and everybody just sitting there eating popcorn, like what, this is sad. It's two siblings who were really, really close breaking apart, and then Tamika, tried to let it go because she didn't say nothing in real time when she found out, and now her sister trying to play in her face, and it's just like, okay. And even with the gospel album that Latasha said that her and Tamika was supposed to do, she said that even her sister ripped that from her. Yes, definitely. And it's like for our entertainment, but in real life, these are two sisters like ripping each other apart, and when does it stop? I don't know if Tamika has just had enough of her sister, but it looks like her sister's not going to back down, especially when the mother is gearing more towards her. So, even though I'm saying all of this, I probably will tune into the next episode, but in real life, like I say, it's entertainment for us. But in real life, it's really sad, like really, really sad. So I'll be watching. I'll probably talk about the other episode next Wednesday. But it's an 18-minute tape, and I wasn't going to get into all of that. How are you guys doing? How are you doing on FluentRadio? How is everybody doing on the visual version? If you do want to see the visual version and you're listening on FluentRadio, just head on over to YouTube. It's BYOK platform. Okay, let's get into our next topic, which is my fave. Shirley Ralph. Judge Joe Brown just wants her to
Shut up! Quiet!
So he's super mad at her. And she didn't even blame him for anything. She shared that she was assaulted by a judge. She was touched inappropriately, and she said it wasn't Judge Mathis, but that's all she stopped at. So the only other black TV judge, I guess she didn't necessarily say TV judge, I don't think, but we'll get into what she said. She just said it wasn't Judge Mathis. So everybody was harassing Judge Joe Brown, right? And so a lot of people are like, why are you waiting so late to say something? You should have said something then. So it's been different conversations just keep popping up online. But Judge Joe Brown, he kind of just kept it going dude, I will sue you. But she didn't really say his name. So everybody was like, well, a hit dog will holler. But I guess he was just trying to clear his name because you know how the internet go. So let's just get into what she said first, and then we'll get into what he's saying.
He was a famous TV judge, not Judge Mathis. I love him. He's a great man. Not him.
Well, good, because
let me start over because I talked over it. Oops.
You have another time. This was a famous TV judge, not Judge Mathis. I love him. He's a great man. Not him.
Well, good, because I love Judge Mathis too. I don't know him personally, but
see, she didn't say anybody else, not Joe Brown.
Judge Mathis.
No. He's a great man. This was another one. I'm at a very public place. I have on, you see me, I was suited. I had my suit on. I was handling my business for the television show I was on at that time. He and I were on the same network.
Was it Moesha?
Walked in, grabbed me by the back of my neck, turned me around, and rammed his nasty tongue down my throat.
Oh my God.
And everybody at the network saw it.
It's the emotion for me.
And the mayor of New Orleans at the time was, why am I blanking on his name? Mark Morial. Mark Morial. I called Mark Morial. Mark will support you.
Yeah.
I could tell you, so you want me to send the police there right now? Because we will fix his you-know-what right now. Somebody at the network tapped me on the shoulder. They said, please don't. Do you know that they did not want any bad press?
Yeah, I can believe it.
Around their show.
Yeah.
And did not care what had just happened to me, it wasn't so bad after all, was it? That's the kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens. That's what makes it hard for women to speak up about these things.
And I'm glad.
And she answered why it took her so long to say something, because when you do say something, now you're the victim. You shouldn't have been wearing that. You shouldn't have been saying that. Was that so bad? It's not bad that they touched your thigh. Hey, anything that makes you feel anything that's unwelcome and unwanted, that's harassment. And if you feel uncomfortable, you feel uncomfortable. And I don't feel like you have to defend yourself when you feel uncomfortable. If I say I'm uncomfortable, that's that. It shouldn't be any more extra added conversation, you know. So a lot of people was getting on her like, why did you wait so long? She just said why she waited so long. So anyway, Judge Joe Brown took himself to Twitter and says there's false rumors being spread that I mistreated a certain lady 25 years ago. I categorically deny both the accusations and acquaintance with the lady. She never said it was him. These rumors started with certain identified parties and spread. They ought cease and desist or contemplate a defamation action. So now he's thinking of taking action. And that's when people were like, hit dogs will holler. I mean, she did exonerate Judge Mathis, but she didn't exonerate him. I don't know if I'm going to read all this, but here are some tweets. They said, then why was this not addressed 25 years ago? How did it not come up during the Me Too witch hunt? Was Me Too really a witch hunt? Was it a witch? Why do we downplay assault? Why is that a downplay? Do you realize? I feel like people that rape and sexually assault people, they should get a life sentence, because that person carries that violation with them for the rest of their life. They are never the same after being violated. And people downplay that. Where's the respect of space? Let me stop. So they said, so this narrative is being peddled by the mainstream news media now that Judge Joe Brown is running for mayor of Memphis. Interesting. So I didn't know he was running for Memphis, but I don't think, she never said it was him. That's my point. And so they're saying now that she has won an Emmy, is Cheryl Ralph Lee being used by Hollywood to carry out their nefarious feminist agendas? Okay, here we go with the Illuminati stuff. And they said, see Judge Joe Brown's TV statement below. And no, I don't believe all Black women never have, never will. This is like Megan Thee Stallion all over again. Since they gave her all of the accolades, now she got to do her part. It's in the contract. Could it be that she felt uncomfortable 20-something years ago? I'm done reading this because this is going to make me mad. So here's the thing. I don't care if it happened yesterday or if it happened 20 years ago. If you were affected, you were affected, and you have the right to share that as many times as you want. Like, can't nobody tell you when and when not to share your trauma? Like, can't nobody tell you that? I'm going to move on because that kind of made me a little mad. And Fluent Radio, we have 17 minutes. Hopefully we'll get through the next 17 minutes for the show. If not, you can come on over to YouTube at the BYOK. Just type in BYOK platform. We're going to the last subject of What's the 411. I didn't and still haven't watched the Nashville shooting because that's sensitive and I really don't want to see things like that. My heart goes out to the families that lost someone for this senseless shooting. But what I did find interesting is before Averina Patton did what she did send a message out to a classmate. And I just want to, like, it was almost like this news anchor was putting a responsibility on this classmate to have stopped this, but she had no idea this was going to happen. So I just kind of wanted to get a little bit into this interview, and then we'll move forward with the topic.
Yes, now for more on this tragedy, I want to introduce you to Avriana Patton, who's a former middle school teammate of the Nashville shooter. Avriana, first off, we are so sorry for everything that your community is going through. I know you're there in Nashville. Tell me, what was your reaction initially when you heard that a shooting had happened?
I was just, when I heard about a shooting, I didn't even correlate the two. I just know that morning I had received that type of message and I tried to respond, encouraging words, but then I was just like, I screenshotted it to my dad and I was like, Dad, should I say something? And if so, what do I do? How do I respond to something like this? And he was like, called the suicide prevention, and then we went from there. Well, I went from there.
Right, and so tell me from the beginning here. I mean, and joining us now for more on this tragedy, you received a message through social media from the shooter saying what?
She said that, would you like for me to read it verbatim?
Sure.
Okay. All right, she said, so basically that post I made on here about you, that was basically a suicide note. I'm planning to die today. This is not a joke. You'll probably hear about me on the news after I die. This is the last goodbye. I love you. See you again in another life, Audrey. And then it's more to it.
I mean, that's horrifying. And that message came to you at 9:57 in the morning. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you told your dad just a few minutes later.
I screenshotted it to him.
And then you called the suicide prevention hotline.
Yes.
She said you received a message through social media from the shooter saying what?
She said that.
And you're taking all these actions, and you were taking them quite quickly. Did you feel like you were doing it fast enough at the time?
Yeah, I was just doing what I was told on the phone.
Right. And so what did the suicide prevention hotline tell you?
They asked me, was I the person that needed the assistance? And if not, they would need the person that needed the process or assistance to be on the phone. And then they suggested me to call the sheriff's department.
So they pointed you to the sheriff's department, which you also called them, right? Around 10:14.
Now, mind you, she got this message at 9:57 and 10:14. She reached out to the sheriff. She was working fast. She was in a panic. You know, like she worked fast to try to help her.
Let me just confirm that for you.
She's so.
Just gonna confirm at sheriff's office at 10:13 a.m.
10:13.
At 10:13. This is also the same time that police are responding to calls.
See, I don't like how she
of shots fired. And you're taking all the 13. Do you feel like the system fell apart here?
You know, I'm not here to point any fingers. All I know is here to tell my process, my story. This is what happened.
Right.
You acted quickly.
I just need solutions. You know,
her whole thing is I was just trying to help.
Receive a message like that. You know, how do you respond to something like that?
Well, it sounds to me like you did the right things. You went through the process. You took action immediately. You made the calls. You were concerned. You didn't brush it off, right? So now that we're 24 hours out, we know what happened. Again, you took all the steps. How are you feeling in the face of this tragic outcome? And what are you seeing in the community right now?
She's devastated.
It's devastating, you know, like
13. Do you?
Yeah. So my heart goes out to her too, because she literally did all she can. She worked fast. She got a message at 9:57 and 10:13. She got to the sheriff's. So the girl probably was on site right when she was sending that message. So people are wondering, why did she send that girl a message? The girl did share the text message. And this is why she said, I wanted to tell you first because you are the most beautiful person I've ever seen and known all my life. My family doesn't even know what I'm doing. One day this will make more sense. I've left more than enough evidence behind, but something bad is about to happen. Forgive me. I'm just taking a breath there. You took lives with your, I don't know. My heart just goes out to the family. My heart goes out to the girl that was trying to stop the incident and didn't know it was this serious. So because we mentioned suicide, if you are feeling that, you know, having suicidal thoughts, ideation, or just want to talk to somebody, you can dial 988 on your cell phone for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So On that note, we're gonna go to our last commercial, and then we're gonna get into the topic. Can't even find it. I'm just heartbroken by it. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. People often think anxiety looks one way, but it has many faces and many emotions that sometimes can be overwhelming and daunting. I know about this feeling all too well because at a point I felt powerless to my emotions, almost to the point of drowning in them. So I decided to seek out a therapist to later learn that I have generalized anxiety disorder. If you have been experiencing the same feeling, please know that BetterHelp is here to help. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. You have the option of talking with a therapist in a private, online environment at your convenience. There is a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network that gives you access to help that may not be available in under 48 hours. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific need, and then you get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then you will schedule secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you get to exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. Thanks to therapy, I learned the tools that I needed to conquer my anxiety and over-obsessive thinking. I did it afraid, and I took that leap to talk with someone, to later learn that it was going to be okay and that I was going to be okay. Please know that you can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. Join the 3 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. And better yet, get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/BYOK. That's betterhelp.com/BYOK, because you deserve it. Okay, all right. So I'm shaking that off, shaking that energy off. That's why I didn't watch the video, because I couldn't even handle that part, less known the actual thing. So you got to be careful what type of things that you absorb. Speaking of energy, this is what the main topic is about. So let's get into it. Hey, lovelies, now it's time for the topic of the night. All right. So the topic of the night is energies. And I just want to get into how I even got into this. I heard this clip from the Shade Room I never could say her name right. Ivana Fix My Life. And I just wanted to get into this a little bit. So let's just listen to what she had to say. Oh, Jesus.
My experience and my observation is that most women are men in skirts. Meaning that the way their presence, their being, the way we roll in the world, it's very masculine because we've been conditioned and programmed out of our feminine. And when I say, I don't mean feminist movement in the world, I want to be a fireman or a football player. I'm talking about, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how to be a woman in your being. What is the distinction between feminine power and masculine power? And we've been conditioned and trained to be men in skirts. We do everything like men. We compete like men. I said this on the R Spot a few weeks ago. I said, most women want their boyfriend to act like their girlfriend, chatting, shopping. But when the man comes home, what they meet is another dude. My experience and my observation is that most women are men in skirts. Meaning that the way their presence, their being, the way we roll in the world, it's very masculine because we've been conditioned and programmed out of our feminine. And when I say, I don't mean feminist movement in the world, I want to be a fireman or a football player. I'm talking about, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how to be a woman in your being. What is the distinction between feminine power and masculine power? And we've been conditioned and trained to be men in skirts. We do everything like men. We compete like men. I said this on the R Spot a few weeks ago. I said, most women want their boyfriend to act like their girlfriend, chatting, shopping. But when the man comes home, what they meet is another dude. my experience.
So I think that's starting over. So I found this interesting because it is a survival of the fittest when sometimes it comes to female, and we do have to fight to be heard. And I get what she's saying. Like it's not bad to be, and we're not talking about gender at all. We're talking about energies during this whole show. Just to put that out there. And so what she's saying is we have to learn how to, in my opinion, it's too much of the masculine energy in females in every situation. So in my opinion, this is how I grabbed that. Let me know what you thought about what she said. I just feel like she may had a point with that because we have our armor up and we have to be, strong, assertive, logical out in the world, when we come home, our spouse is expecting some softness from us. We don't have to have a hard exterior all of the time. And so I feel like with anything, we need balance. That's how I took that, and a lot of people, like in the comments on the actual post of Hollywood Unlock, I said it's the shade room, they were saying like, what's wrong with that? Then the man is insecure, then the woman needs to do this and that. But here's the thing. If you have been scrapping and surviving and you have been working from the ground up just to be heard, just for the simple fact that you're a woman, you are going to have a little bit more masculinity as far as energy. You know what I'm saying? Just to be heard, just to be taken serious. It's already hard in a workplace or trying to do a business or even going to a store. I've known people address my husband and not me, and I'm sitting right there like, hello, you know what I'm saying? Like women constantly, especially I feel like sometimes Black women even more, have like fight to be heard, in certain spaces. And so maybe it does come into the home or it comes around the family when it's not necessary. And so that's why I wanted to talk about like the importance of balancing energies. And so I looked up a couple of articles just to even define masculine energy versus feminine energy. And so what I came up with, or what I found, masculine energy approach, it creates structure and rules, competitiveness, and dominance. And like I said, this is things needed when you go in the outside world. You can't be soft and quiet. And no, you got to speak up. You got to be assertive. You got to be the smartest in the room. You got to be 3, 4, 5 weeks ahead, The feminine energy approach is non-dichotomous thinking, which is the opposite of monochrome thinking. So women are known to, not women, but feminine energy is colorful thinking, creativity, outside of the box, openly expressive, compassionate, and empathetic. So this is the energy that Ivanka was saying, that Ivana, the Fix My Life guru, was saying, like, when we come home, we are expected by our spouses to have some compassion, to be a little empathetic, to be a little soft, and not just, and she wasn't talking in terms of like dress or interest. She was talking in energy. And I think a lot of people miss that point, because when we're all comprised of masculine and feminine energy. And like with everything, like I said in life, it's finding that level. And I feel like with anything, it's situational, right? Because you're going to be one way in one situation, another one in another. But I feel like you shouldn't always be in survival mode. And I think that's what she is saying. When you're with your spouse, you're supposed to feel safe. And here's another thing I want to say. If in fact that you do feel like you have to have a hard exterior around your spouse, could it be that they're actually making you feel unsafe? That can be another conversation, because some people keep their guards up at home because they have to, so that can be another thing. They're not giving that space to be comfortable and to be cozy. And so they always feel like they have to exert this masculine energy. What are your thoughts about it? I'm just rambling, but what do you think about that? And so I saw this article and I just love the tone of it. And so I just wanted to read a little bit of it, because it explained why the masculine energy has risen in females. And before I get into it, I just want to thank the FluentRadio listeners for tuning in. I am here every Wednesday at 10:20 p.m. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to hang out with your girl. If you want to catch the rest of the show, go to YouTube at BYOK platform. I'll see you next week. Bye. Okay, and so this is courtesy of the Herald. And so this is what she says. I don't teach equality, I teach equity. Equity means to acknowledge our differences, accept them, and understand the value of them. I teach gender inclusion and the power of feminine energy in the workplace. And to me, this is not just for workplace. This is just for women in general, FYI. She says, I've been described as both a radical, man-hating feminist and an ignorant pacifist attempting to wrangle women back to the 1950s America. Neither description is accurate. Feminine energy is, and since the beginning of time, has been misunderstood. Women have been burned, tortured, and murdered for sacred circles, witchcraft, and merely existing. The role of the feminine and the contributions of women have been minimized, even by other women. Society has suffered as a result. Of the past 3,400 years of human history, we've been at peace for 268 of them. That's about 8%. Feminine energy does not promote violence, destruction, or the hoarding of resources. The role of the feminine is to hold space, meaning to allow while creating and expanding life. The feminine becomes practical when we take action, not violent, demanding action, but still certain action with a united voice. So anytime that, this is not her talking, this is me, anytime that it's assertive or it's being demanding, then we're out of our place and we're always being misconstrued as being emotional. But when we get boisterous, when we get, hey, I'm not going to do that, this is how you catch the attention. So this has just been the record that's been playing for years because we figured out that's how you get attention, you know. Back to what she's saying. She says the feminine is motion seeking safety. I love that. The feminine is motion seeking safety. We feel safe when we act differently and we get soft when we feel safe, you know. She is a free and ever-changing force that exhibits creativity, collaboration, empathy, patience, and a depth of emotional intelligence that sees and understands your very soul. Because she is willing to go into the dark unknown, she is brave, powerful, and often still. We are all both masculine and feminine, yet women are different. We have a different physical body and brain, which allows us to view the world through the lens of diffuse awareness, meaning we see the forest for the trees. We have different hormones, which increase our capacity for connection. These differences are gifts. A different perspective allows growth, yet we still fear what we don't understand. My work has been challenged and dismissed. My thoughts, feelings, experiences, and even scientific research, not my research, but the research of doctors in the fields of sociology and psychology, have been invalidated by individual experiences. Therefore, I believe it worth clarifying the meaning and gifts of feminine energy. Some consist arguments. I've never experienced that. Or my wife's sister, mother, girlfriend, she not like that. That's awesome. Sincerely, it is. It makes me happy that you work with women who speak directly and without consequences. It makes me happy that you know women who lead teams, make equal wages, and are great negotiators. That means you've had a different and more favorable experience than the average woman. Make no mistake, I want more of that for all of us. But please don't confuse your perception with research. So her thing is when she does say these issues, or you ever just, you know, talk to someone and talk to them about your feelings, and because they've never experienced that in life, they invalidate, you know, your experience or what you're trying to say just because they don't have the knowledge and they're not listening to understand. I feel like this happens a lot with women. And here's the thing: this is reaching. We're reaching the end of Women's History Month, so I just realized this. So this is like with the bang, you know. So anyway, she says there are more CEOs named John than there are female CEOs. Women hold a mere 22% of executive positions and less than 5% are CEO level. Yet we are nearly 51% of the workplace. This is a problem. Women still leave school 30% less confident than their male counterparts and make an average of 79 cents on the dollar. We're a third less likely to be deemed worthy of hire. And don't say you have a family or you're looking to extend your family. Anyway, the reason these abysmal statistics continue is that we have one narrow standard for success in the majority of the workforce. The successful employee is asked to be competitive, logical, analytical, assertive, and direct. All of these characteristics are masculine. Shouldn't we all be authentic at work? Not all women are feminine. You're stereotyping women when you say that. You're right. Not all women are feminine. Many women are more comfortable in their masculine energy, and many men feel more comfortable in their feminine energy. We are all capable of exhibiting both energies in any given interaction. We know that when we don't conform to the masculine and feminine norms, there are consequences. And that's not fair either, but that's not the conversation at hand, but it should be. Many women associate with being feminine and feel more comfortable when allowed to exhibit feminine traits. That has rarely been accepted, let alone encouraged in corporate America. It hasn't. So by talking about feminine energy, am I promoting a stereotype of women? Indulge me for a moment. The Surgeon General warns that smoking leads to cancer. My aunt has smoked since she was a teenager. She is in her late 80s. She does not have cancer. Is the Surgeon General wrong? The exception does not negate the rule. And when you scream, that's not everyone, you're right. But you're also ostracizing the long dismissed outlier population of feminine women who wish to show up in their essence to be seen and heard. Feminine voices matter. The voice in corporate America who works hard, harder than men, but is dismissed for her contribution because she doesn't vocalize how great she is. She knows that if she did, she would not be seen through the same lens as her male counterparts. Men would be team players and she would be self-promoting. Men would be strong and she will be shrill. Instead of preaching confirmation or pointing out exceptions, acknowledge what we already know. Women are different. They bring a unique perspective and that adds value. Diverse teams increase projected financial earnings from 15 to 35%. Do you believe the 2008 economic crisis would have been worse with more women on Wall Street? Creating space for your sister's voice does not silence your own. Creating space for your sister's voice does not silence your own. It enhances it. Allow it to be heard and add yours to it. I love this whole passage because I feel like it wasn't even just, once again, for the workforce. This was a great explanation as to why masculine energy is at a rise in females, because that's the only way that we can be heard. And I feel like at this point, women are like, the hell with it. I'm going to be heard. I'm going to self-promote. I'm going to be a boss. I'm going to be confident in what I am. I am going to give space and time to myself. I am going to work on me. You know, I do have the kids. I do have the family, or I don't want the kids and I don't want the family. And at this day and time, women have that choice and women have that right. They don't have to sit in a box and pretend to feel some energy that they don't or be something that they're not. And so although I do agree with the snippet at a certain, capacity, I feel like that is why there is a rise of masculinity in females, because that's how things get done. And I feel like it's confidence. It may be seem like, complaining, or it may seem emotional, but it's nothing of that. It's just a increase in confidence in women, all women. And I'm loving every bit of it. I'm loving every bit of it. And so if we are comprised of both masculine and feminine, I feel like both, and if you flip it on the other side, like she said, there are men that are more comfortable in their feminine energy, but yet they have to pretend that they are not because of societal norms. So once again, who set these societal norms to tell you how you should act, how you should feel, how you should create? And because we don't even really know or have a face with the name, if you don't put an address on it, I don't care. And I feel like that's how we should approach societal norms. It's just so much easier to be yourself. It's just so much easier to be cozy in what you feel comfortable with, and so I didn't know if I wanted to go through these couple of energies, but I will just a little bit right quick. And this is from goop.com. So I didn't know about 4 divine energy types, and I'll just go through them right quick. The greater yin, this is about as feminine as you could get. This energy is associated with stillness, nighttime, intuition, creativity, feelings, and senses. So if you think this is you feel it all. You feel things sometimes before actually understanding them. You have a bleeding heart and tend to the side with the underdog. You may require more alone time than most. It's possible others have called you needy, or sensitive before. You may not necessarily be an introvert, but you likely exhibit introverted tendencies. That sounded so much like me. So they're saying ways to balance that, if that's you, is to meditate, journal, sleep, nap, take time for yourself. Set aside time to feel your feelings. I love that. They're your superpower. So those are people that you just, if you want to just let it all out, watch a sad movie. I do that just to cry, or I'll just go in the car and just scream and let it all out. Get it out. Get it out. The lesser yin is slightly more fluid. Composition raises from 60% to 80% yin and 20% to 40% yang energy. Is this you in general? You're pretty well balanced. You're sensitive and curious, and likely more creative than analytical, and more introverted than extroverted. You're self-aware. You're able to go with the flow. You may find yourself surrounded by more dominant personalities that tend to take charge. Your process is all yours, sometimes slower than others, but it's your journey of self-discovery, and you appreciate truly connecting with it. You're enthralled by the process. How to balance this? Creative projects are fun for you, as they can be just as insightful as they are productive. While you do value simply sitting with your feelings and having a meditation or journaling practice, you're also into forward motion, resolutions, and measurable outcomes. And then there's the lesser yang. Now we're moving into the dominant yang, masculine energy. This type is a little more extroverted, active, and dominant, with the tendency to move through life at a faster pace. Is this you? You're open-minded and kind-hearted. You expect a little more from life than most. You tend to be passionate and playful. You're into being creative and dreaming big, with a healthy understanding of pragmatics and limitations. You're future-oriented and great at accomplishing goals without taking yourself too seriously or getting too bummed out when the stars don't align. Man, I know some people like this, right? I'm like, oh, I'm thinking of people as I'm reading this. So tools for balance: nurture your never-ending curiosity, innocence, sense of adventure, and desire for growth. Join classes, get into something new on the reg. I'm talking 1 or 2 new hobbies each year, maybe it's a dance, a foreign language, learning how to invest in cryptocurrency. Be careful with that. It's a big lawsuit. And then the last one is your greater yang. This is the masculine. This is as masculine as energy as it gets. Greater yang energy is assertive, goal-oriented, accomplished, and dominant. The energy is associated with daytime activity, vision, and power. Here are tools for balancing this energy. Can't nobody stop a star from shining. Lean into your strengths without apology or trepidation. The sooner you own that you're a strong, benevolent leader, the easier it will be for others to follow suit and help you out. What's cool about you is that while you were born with all these cosmic consciousness that has you totally winning in life, you're also a sweetheart and not trying to win if it means others lose. Trust that everyone wins when you take control. It's a position of great responsibility and not for everyone. And so if you want to read more into this, it's goop.com, and the name of it is Balancing Your Feminine and Masculine Energy. So I thought this was a really good read, just talking about how to balance that energy, but I also wanted to get into why there is a more of a masculine energy into female. So I think I'll stop there. So this was interesting. I read so much on this, but I didn't know how to like condense it or truncate it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have a million articles on this, because I think that this is a good ending for March, because we were talking about, I guess this is the last episode of March. So we were talking about progression, you know, the difference between movement and progress. And so I feel like knowing how to balance those energies too, right? Because if you're too much on one side or not nurturing your energy, you might not make much progress, because you might not understand why, or you might not know how to communicate in certain situations. That's another importance when balancing, you know, masculine and feminine, because sometimes your response, you do need to be more masculine, but sometimes your feminine should be an answer. Like, what is it? You get more bees with honey. Sometimes you got to be soft. Sometimes you have to be hard. It's all about knowing how to balance what and know what to be in whatever given situation. So yeah, so it's the end of the first quarter. It has been amazing talking to you guys every Wednesday. Like I told the FluentRadio people, viewers, the viewers is you could be anywhere on a Wednesday, but you decided to just hang with your girl, and I appreciate that. If you are on YouTube, please hit that subscribe. If you're on Facebook, hit that follow. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on all platforms. It's Be Your Own Kind 24 across the board. And until next time, don't forget to be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself and to be kind to others. And I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.